Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the MultiDimensional MD. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always great to see you out there, and just let me know if you are there. Give me a like, put something in the comments. I always like to know where people are coming from. Today, I'm going to talk about why we care about what other people think and how that affects your health, because this is something that is really universal in the human experience. And although some people may be better at maybe not caring about what other people think, when it comes down to it, if you were to ask anyone what their preference was, like whether you cared or not, everyone really would say that they would prefer if people liked them. They would prefer if people gave them positive feedback. So in a way, we always, hi Nomad from Sacramento, California. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, we all care in some sense. And so I wanted to think about how does that affect our health, and why is this a part of the human experience? So I'm going to talk about it from just looking briefly from anthropology, sociology, entrepreneurial perspectives, psychology, that mental emotional aspect, and how the physical body responds. So I'll talk about various illness examples of like how I see that affect my patients, and also what are the messages from spirit. So as always, we're going to approach from a multi-dimensional perspective, because that gives us a more full understanding of ourselves, and in understanding ourselves, it's more healing. So, what does anthropology say? So, anthropology is a study of humans, past, present, and future. And it's understanding that relationship with biology, physiology, evolution, language, and culture. So, it spans like all of human development. And humans are social creatures. So we are more likely to survive in a group if we work together. And we're more welcome in a group if we are acting in an acceptable way. And so they can be this survival instinct that there's that fear of getting kicked out of the tribe, getting kicked out of the group. And so that can trigger some very primal instincts. And so if we feel like, why do we react so strongly when someone doesn't agree, or we feel like someone doesn't like us, then just remember there's that primal instinct that wants to keep us as part of the group in terms of survival. It just gives you a broader understanding. This is an evolutionary thing that helped us as social creatures stay together and help each other out. And we're more likely to identify with the other person when we feel they are more like us, they are more similar to us, which is why it's important from this anthropology perspective to understand the oneness instead of separateness. And I'll talk about that more. And so, how is it that we can identify more with each other? And so, if we go to sociology, which is a branch of anthropology, but this is more a study of group behavior from social structures and institutions, and how people are influenced by family, peers, and leaders. So, if you start to think about things like religion and politics, so these are really hot topics. And then you start to feel like, why you care about like what people think, because these are things that you care about. And then when it gets broken down into these big social structures, um, it can create a divide when you feel like someone doesn't agree with you. So again, it's like wanting to bring together, but at the same time, there needs to be some kind of balance. If you associate with any political party or religion, then how is it that you can work with other people, but at the same time respect other people's opinions, and again, still stepping into that oneness. So this is very difficult. When we go to sociology, it starts to get really sticky. So let's keep going. And looking from entrepreneurial perspectives, because in innovation and in starting new companies and new projects, there sometimes gets to be this idea that we don't care what people think. We are going to create something new and it's going to be amazing. And that's how things get a takeoff. So, I mean, anything from just innovating like underwear, which we're seeing all different kinds now for women. And it does have to break certain social barriers. And so, in that way, it's like that entrepreneurial, like, we don't care what people think. There's a need, we're going to fill it. But at the same time, it's not really not caring what people think because you do care because you're feeling a need, you're feeling a desire, something that people want, and you're also getting feedback from other people because you want to create something that is useful for people in general, for humanity. So then we go into psychology, that mental, emotional aspect. And sure, caring about what other people think is this great feedback mechanism. And it is healthy when it is in balance. So sometimes people will start to wonder, especially with the new language in psychology, talking about codependency and when are you enabling, when are you. Um, just feeding that codependency. So, is it a sign of healthy empathy, or are you enabling or becoming codependent? Are you people pleasing? So, or are you keeping healthy boundaries? So, there's this pressure, constant pressure of expectation, of wanting to please people and keep the balance of things. But at the same time, what if you aren't in balance and you're getting this feedback that other people don't like what you're doing? So you could think about the example of looking like addictive behavior. So if you have loved ones telling you that, hey, I'm concerned about you, something is not right, then to care about what other people think in that scenario would be really helpful. Um, on the other hand, like if you are really trying to follow your dreams in a healthy way, and you have loved ones that keep putting you down and saying that, oh yeah, you can't do that, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, or getting the message like that, then you can see how that would be harmful. Or if you have a parent saying like, I want you to go into this profession. You're not allowed to go into to study that in college or whatever. I don't want you. If you could follow that career path, then um, I'm not happy with you. So you can see there's that balance. In one way, we want to get feedback, so we do want to care about what other people think and maintain our balance of self. But on the flip hand, we don't want to lose our sense of self. So how do you know the difference in that? Well, one is knowing like how you feel about yourself. So, if you have a healthy, loving perspective of yourself, then you're not going to let like what other people say outweigh that. But if you don't have a healthy, loving perspective of yourself, then you will let other people say outweigh that. And you have to really, come back to like, well, how are you treating yourself? If what they're saying would be a healthier way to approach yourself, a kinder way to approach yourself, then you need to listen to what other people say. If what other people say is actually going against like being kind to yourself and gentle with yourself, then you need to go with what your inner guidance says. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. So if we go to how the physical body responds and how you care about what other people think can manifest in your physical body as well. So when you care so much and it is this weight on you, then you can feel that as a tension in your body. You can feel like a weight on your shoulders, a weight in your neck, even a pressure in your chest. So that's that expectation that you feel like you're not living up to certain pressures and expectations. And that could come from within you or that could come from without you. And the feeling is really the same because you have this expectation and pressure and you feel you can't live up to it. And you feel like all this internal pressure, it's caving in. So something coming inward on you, but at the same time, it's impossible to contain. So you can feel like exploding from the inside, but you're also imploding. Um, and it's like your body is holding on to all those contained emotions. It's holding on to those pressures and expectations. It's holding on to unprocessed stress and trauma. And how I've seen that show up in people is in so many different illnesses. So I've seen it affect their heart with arrhythmias, with cardiovascular issues, even if they couldn't find anything from going to the cardiologist, which is great, but they can still feel like something fluttering. I've seen it show up in thyroid issues. So not being able to have that voice expressed and come out and really be yourself in the world. I've seen that same kind of thing show up as a loss of voice or laryngitis. So that voice becoming really quiet or not be able to even make any sound at all. So it's really interesting when you start to broaden your perspective and see how your symptoms might mean something in a more metaphysical perspective in your life. Like, how does, if you took it metaphorically, like, how does it play out in your life? I've seen caring about what other people think show up in digestive issues from just that nervous belly, nervous anticipation, anxiety before speaking, before presenting, to an inflammatory bowel disease where people were put up against like possible surgery for removing their colon, so can get much more serious, or diverticulitis. I've seen it show up as headaches, that pressure in the head because you really can't contain it and you're taking on so much, but you're not letting yourself express fully, and really unsure of like how you can meet all the expectations from yourself and from others. And so that's that, when things become out of balance and you're caring too much about what other people think, then it can start to show up in your body. And so that is also really telling. And we really want to use those signals from the body as a guidance so you can start to just back up and see what metaphorically do those symptoms mean in my life. And then you can put that layer of like, how much do I care about what other people think? And is it in balance? Is it helping me function? Is it helping me love myself, be kind to myself? Or is it out of balance? And I'm not actually treating myself very well. And maybe I'm not treating other people as well too. I could be kinder to both myself and to other people. And then when we go to the even grander perspective from spirit, if I love someone, I do care how they think and feel, but I also love myself and know my truth. So caring for others doesn't have to affect my ego. If I know that what someone said does not resonate with my truth, then it won't stick. It will slide away like water. So I use this example of like, if someone said, your skin is blue and you're not in a blue man group. If someone said that to me, it'd be like, okay. I mean, what am I going to say? I'm not going to argue it because it's obviously not true. But if there is just an inkling of you that resonates with what they say, then that's when it's going to affect your ego. So that's the part to tune into. So when you do care about what somebody thinks and it hurts you, then just consider, does a little part of you believe it? If it does, then maybe take steps to shift or address that, to really dig deeper into yourself and see how you can trust yourself more in a loving way, not in a way that is defeating or self-destructive. So that example of addiction, because you could think like, oh yeah, well, my mind says that I want to do this. And addiction can be anything. It could be like shopaholic. Well, my mind says that I want to go shopping and that's going to make me feel good. But is that what your heart says? So this is where we're digging into like that heart-centered spirit. Is your mind actually connected with your heart? And that's what you need to listen to. So if someone says something and it hurts your feelings, then just listen to your heart and see what's going on there. Seeing, are there old hurts? Are there old stressors or patterns that need to be addressed. And then that can point your way towards healing. So it doesn't have to be like, oh gosh, I can't deal with my ego. Even with the ego, you can be compassionate with yourself, because this is a part of the human experience. It helps keep us safe. And that ego will point you towards like what areas need healing. So if you feel hurt with what someone says, then that is an area of healing for yourself, of how you feel about yourself. Because again, otherwise it would just wash away, slide away like water. And at the beginning and end of each day, what I love to do is I ask to align my will and thoughts with that of the divine. That helps me to maintain balance, um, because I can care about others always, but I also trust in my inner guidance, and I know when I'm supposed to help or intervene. And I see the beauty in my own journey as well as in others, and I don't need to control it all. So things tend to work out best if I listen to that still small voice within me that is always loving and supportive. And so you can do that too. And that will help maintain that balance of like caring about what other people think, because I don't think it's healthy to 100% not to care what other people think. We live here together. We need to help each other. We are part of our purpose in life is to be of service to each other and share the love from inside us. So if we don't care about whether people feel and think, then um, we may not be of service to them. So but it's not out of balance, again, to how you feel about yourself. So I know there are so many aspects of this topic that we can talk about, but hopefully that helped you in some way. If there's any questions about it, because there's so many details here that sometimes it can get tricky. And again, it's about balance. So it's not like that. I don't care what what anyone thinks. You can put your expletives there, and it's not about like, oh gosh, I only care what other people to. I'm going to give up all my energy and myself because I can only care about what other people think, and I always have to please people. I always have to control things by pleasing people. So you want to be in the center there, that heart center, where things are more balanced. So you can take what other people think as constructive feedback, but also let yourself be guided by that still small voice within you that is always loving and encouraging and supportive. If you feel that your still small voice is not that, then that's not what I'm calling the still small voice of that divine inner guidance. That is your mind disconnected from your heart that is running trauma and stress patterns that are unresolved. So, but once you bring it up and once you're able to see it and look at it, then you can take steps to address it. And if you're not sure how to do that, then I would be happy to help you. There are so many ways to kind of approach that, and all of them are through loving yourself in some way. So thank you so much for joining me. Please comment, like, subscribe. You can find me on Instagram at All Worlds Health, Facebook at All Worlds Health and Pediatrics, on TikTok. My kids are telling me I need to post more at the MultiDimensional MD and on my website. If you don't get the e-love letters weekly, you can sign up there at allworldshealth.com. So lots of love to all of you. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will be back here next week, 11 a.m. Wednesday EST.